online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Is that what we do?
Yeah, we're just dancing it out.
Hello, fellow Face Off fans. Welcome to Season 9, Episode 5, Gatekeepers. This is a little tribute to our favorite gatekeeper and keymaster, the Ghostbusters, Zool. So if anyone's wondering why we didn't dress up, we normally dress up every week.
We do. But it's about...
We have a shared hat, so
Yes.
What more do you want from us?
To be fair, it's about 100 degrees in LA right now.
We tried to dress up and our faces melted off.
And also, I would like to point out, this is just a bit of a digression, that in the beginning when Mackenzie was setting up the Spotlight Challenge for this week, she's like, a really common theme in film and television and books. And I was like, I spent an hour Googling Gatekeepers and could come up with nothing except for Sigourney Weaver and Ghostbusters, and I do not have that dress.
That's because there can be only one. Welcome, I am your host, Alana Jordan. You can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan. Today, I am joined with my amazing co-host.
Hello, I'm Emma Fyffe. You can follow me all over the internet and otherwise at Emma Fyffe.
Our phenomenal co-host, Alexis, is in the booth holding it down.
What up? You can find me all over social media as Torres 890. What up?
And we're super excited because one of our favorites, Sidney Cumbie, is here today.
One of your favorites, all right. Yeah, sure.
By the way, if you have not done so already,
There it is. Thank you.
There we go.
Live studio
That's
audience.
our live studio audience.
We're a little late. I'm sorry.
Slightly delayed.
That's the worst.
It's okay. They were just absorbing the situation. We liked it. If you've not done so already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at AFTERBUZZ TV. We've got hundreds of shows for you guys. Also, be sure to check us out on iTunes and SoundCloud. Rate, comment, give us that thumbs up, and tweet at us using that hashtag ABTVFaceOff. Dun, dun, dun.
Alrighty then.
It's really dramatic.
I can see
Super
that.
dramatic.
It's a very dramatic show. Face Off.
It is. And this was kind of a dramatic episode. We had a couple different things going on. We had our first immunity challenge. We had our foundation challenge. They did this Rorschach ink blot test, which it was inspired by. Which, if you don't know, is the psychological test that you see the ink splatters and you have to say what you see in it.
Yeah.
It's very Freudian.
I just love that. I can't remember exactly who it was when they walked in, said, it looks like we walked into Mackenzie's therapy session.
This was Ben. That was definitely
It was Ben.
Mr. Witty Ben. Yes.
I feel like there should be just a face-off therapy session for all the things that you guys have to go through
Seriously.
every week.
Yeah.
Believe me, it is torture. There's a lot of tears. So, I mean, we get it out on the show. So.
We saw some tears this episode, too. They had their guest judge for the immunity challenge, Erin Kruger McNash.
Yes.
And she came in, kind of gave her feedback, and basically what Miss McCash said was that they should just be very creative.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's easy.
it's
I mean, this is kind of like what happened, I felt, last season when Hunger Games was a judge.
Hunger Games, if you don't know, is the nickname for Josh Hutcherson, who is
Oh
the
man,
star
I forgot
of Hunger
all
Games.
about that. Thank you.
I
Emma,
will never
for
You know what
bringing
I
that
mean?
up.
Like, I love Josh Hutcherson. I love Erin Kruger McCash, but, like, guys, these are not makeup artists. So and the thing is that it's like, so they come into it, and I mean, for example, we, Elena, Alexis, and Art, and myself, we are not makeup artists either, but we come in here and we go, we're not makeup artists, we're just going to talk about what we liked and we didn't like, and admit that we couldn't do any of this.
But I will say, in defense of Aaron, we also don't have 23 Emmy nominations.
That is true.
That is also very true.
That is true.
Yeah, it is.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
There's a singer.
But it was a cool challenge.
No, it
and
was. I
so-
liked the challenge.
Yeah, Jasmine did this like ancient Greek demigod thing that was really cool, and hers and Meg's really just stood out. Meg did this dirty river mermaid, which might be my favorite description of anything. Is I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, with this challenge, you could just do anything you wanted to, really. I mean, it's your interpretation of it. Nothing was a wrong answer.
True.
But I did like what she did. She didn't really, I mean, she used an appliance, but she used a sponge, basically. Seemed like she just ripped it up and glued it on the head, which could have been a disaster. But when I saw her doing it, I was like, that's a good idea. But who else was in it? Was it Jasmine that was at their top?
Yeah, Jasmine was
yeah.
a top look, yeah.
I can't remember what she did, but
She had that like gold with the blue and green.
Oh, it was the guy.
Oh yeah,
yes,
that's right.
yes.
Because she said that she didn't envision something scary. She envisioned this sort of Egyptian almost
really
god. It was
cool
really
colors.
cool. Yeah, it was nice.
She's super good with an airbrush, but it was the smirk on the guy's face that really sold it. Because look, the model can sell a makeup.
That's absolutely true.
You can have a great paint job, great application, but the model can just look all mopey and it can just be terrible. Once I saw it, he was like smirking the whole time, and I was like, I kind of like hers a little bit more, even though it was creative what Meg did.
Right.
The model sold it for me on that one. I was just
So there you go. Good on you, Hunger Games. You are. That's a valid source. I like it. The model does.
The model sells it. I mean, it's the actor. It's it's the people that are in the creature suit or anything like that, and it can sell it. It can be awesome and not awesome at the same time.
Which was interesting too, because jumping ahead just a little bit, when they went to the spotlight, it was this one, the foundation challenge, when they swept and saw their Rorschach test.
Yeah.
We saw Jasmine introduce herself to the model. So do you guys? You don't even know the model?
Sometimes you just get tossed out there with a model, so they'll pick it for you, or you get a pick. In this case, they were all picked because they were already at the tables.
Right.
So it's like it's the roll of the dice.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can get the best models that are so game for this, and then you can get just the pouty ones that are just like, I don't want to do. And they're like, how are you on this show?
Yeah.
How did you audition for this? Like, they just gave me. They want to.
I ask myself that about this show constantly. So I'm just like, thanks guys. How did I get this?
Oh jeez.
Now, Sidney, you actually have a background in like special effects, makeup, creature kind of modeling.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I'm like, I give all the credit to the model, because I know how hard it is. I'm not the best. I'm definitely not the best. It's so weird because I go really goofy with all the characters that I do. If anybody does makeup on me, they'll know. They're like, because then I'll start going into these weird voices and just so goofy, and I'm like, I know, I need to settle down, I need to be more serious, but I'm just a goofy guy, and it's just really bad. But and that's why I know that, because I've had people do really awesome makeups on me that I just sort of just ruined by doing these. I just do these goofy voices, and it's just like so bad, and I just can't help it, And I one of my good friends is one of the best creature actors in the world, Doug Jones.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm so proud of you for being in so much makeup. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but I'm no Doug Jones, so I'm not super slim, and I don't sell it as well. I know I should represent the Doug family, but it's just.
Do the Dougie, if you will.
Do the Dougie.
Alexis just died and was like, you're the worst.
I'm going to tell him that, too. Alexis, how dare you. How dare you.
That wasn't directed at you. That was 100%.
That was straight up.
He's going to watch
that was
this, and now we're going to have a t-shirt that says, do the Dougie, and people are going to think it's a total different meaning.
Yes.
And then we'll have on the back of it, Jones.
Yes, and it can have his photo, like how Ben has his T-shirts, which
Oh,
are
yes.
also awesome,
Yeah.
and you should all go and buy because they're phenomenal. It's
I've
just
worn one
a picture of it.
in makeup.
love it.
Ben did makeup on me one time, and I totally supported the shirt, and I was like taking selfies with it.
That's
That is
awesome.
amazing. So ultimately, Meg did win immunity this
Yeah,
time.
she
which
did.
She's been in the bottom looks a couple times, so this was kind of good for her. Jasmine's been, we were kind of talking about it, Jasmine's been pretty safe and pretty good throughout.
So she has no worries.
She's
Yeah,
been
so
Jasmine's
the
good.
immunity, I think, was...
good for Meg.
Yeah, it was good. I think she was more grateful.
Yeah, then Jasmine, of course, would have liked it, but
Yes.
let's get real. Jasmine has been crushing it
Yeah,
across
she
the board.
knows she doesn't need it.
And this episode was no exception.
And Dirty River Mermaid just is my new
It's a
band
cool
name. I'm
name.
calling
It's a
it
cool-
right now. So.
And another thing, creative
Dirty
names.
gonna go
River
see-
Mermaid. What was it? Flabellina Nudie Branch?
Yes,
What
that's
was
the name
this?
of our first album.
Oh, all right.
That's one of the creatures that they were given that you got for the very first
the
challenge.
second challenge.
The second challenge, yeah. When you had to pick the odd creature.
Oh,
Odd
yes.
singer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the siren song one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
that's a
sore
real
memory
thing.
that I have, but
Aw.
I don't want to talk about this.
You've repressed the Flabellina Nudie Branch.
Yeah.
Alexis is killing it on these sound effects. I love it. So luckily, Meg did have immunity going into challenge.
She
This
did.
was an odd, interesting challenge where everybody walks in and there are all these doorways, these different gate frames. And it was kind of cool because they're told they're going to be put in pairs,
Right.
but have to do 2 makeups
Yeah.
together. So basically, you're paired up with somebody, you still have to work cohesively with another person, but you're responsible for an entire look.
Yeah, which I liked because more often than not when you're actually working on a job, you are working as part of a
Exactly.
team. But you will be responsible for your individual things, and so you have to be able to craft a makeup that goes with the other makeups that we're seeing in this world that you are creating. And I really liked the way that they picked teams.
I was
and
just
not,
about to say,
not
I
only
love
teams,
that.
but teams and also basically gates because they were creating gatekeepers and the creatures beyond the gate.
We've talked about this before in the show, how, it is kind of luck of the draw sometimes who you're paired with and what
Yeah.
your inspirational thing is.
But usually it's like they give you an order to pick in. So
Right.
it's like, oh, Meg, you won the immunity foundation challenge, so you get
You
to go pick your gate
first.
first.
But instead, Mackenzie had, because she is the Zool of Face Off. I will not call her the Zool of Face Off. I
she'll love it.
immediately
She'll love
retract
it.
that. I don't know
It's
if
all right.
it's supposed
No,
to be a
she'd
good
love
thing.
it. I'm actually a little
she
sad
does.
that she was not rocking the
Sigourney
red
Weaver?
Dana,
Would've been
Dana dress.
amazing.
Yeah.
Guys, I have to bring up something also about Mackenzie is that the fact that if you guys have been looking at her Instagram constantly, after we talked about last week how we wanted an Instagram of just her dresses, all of a sudden out of nowhere she just starts Instagramming her dresses
So if
and
you're watching
outfits.
Mackenzie.
and you're listening for Instagram inspiration, we want to see your outfits every day of your life. So
Yeah,
just do like
just
a photo
have
of
one.
the day.
Hashtag face off fashion, but really I just need like hashtag Mackenzie life.
Our dream is to just live in Mackenzie Westmore's closet and walk out in a different gorgeous dress every day.
I would die happy.
It's phenomenal.
Straight up.
It's phenomenal.
Anyway,
telling
I'm
you,
sorry.
that's
I
what
didn't
I'm
mean to
wearing to my
interrupt.
next Dirty River
No,
Mermaid
that was a good interruption.
I had to say it. I had to say it.
I love it.
So yeah, Mackenzie has this bag of keys that each key is paired with a door, and there are 2 of each. So whoever randomly selects
Yeah.
each key gets paired together, and that's
Right.
how they got their gate. And some of these gates, I gotta say,
We're crazy.
yeah, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So
I was so excited though.
but you
Yeah,
know
but
that
I
it's
feel
nice-
this is one of those every once in a while I feel like there are challenges where you feel like one sort of concept, one thing to base your makeup on is so much better than all the
Than another
others.
one, yes.
And on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the one that you're like,
I got the Flabellina Nudie branch. That's That's just going to become the new synonym for something that you are accidentally assigned that you do not
That's
want.
a long term for it, but I get it.
We make our nicknames whatever length we want. It's fine.
Yeah.
So we only had, now that we're down to 6 teams, we had 2 safe, 2 bottom, and 2 top looks.
That's
so
crazy.
This is our only super symmetrical episode.
I know.
Relish it while you can if you
Exactly.
are super OCD like I am.
It's going away after this.
So Stevie and Evan got this weird alien door that's this crazy...
So to me, Stevie and Evan's door looked like something out of the queue for Space Mountain at Disneyland. That was all I could think of.
Yeah, it's okay. I was on the same boat. I was kind of like, what is that, a Space Mountain door?
It was a futuristic door, right?
Yes.
To me, it reminded me of the X-Men door from the movies where it comes together, where Professor X goes into his little...
Emma and I were on the same boat.
What is it about a hexagon that just says this
I
is
can
space?
see the X-Men
And it's
one
metal, and it was so plain. I was like, what are you supposed to
If
do
you
with
see a
that?
metal hexagon, you know that you are on a spaceship.
Yeah, it's
basically.
very true. Exactly. I was seeing Space Mountain, I was seeing Star Trek, and now that you bring up the X-Men thing, it really does look like the interior.
I was seeing Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yes.
You know?
But that to me makes it so much easier for them. They know exactly.
But that is true. They
It's
couldn't.
very
They
identifiable.
couldn't do anything but an alien.
An alien and clean.
Yeah.
You don't have nothing muddy, which is kind of hard to do something super clean.
Absolutely.
But at least you know that you and
you
they
know what
were
you have to
both
do.
on the same page immediately. And anybody who listens to our show knows that I'm obsessed with anything that glows or
Yes.
lights up, especially if it's blue. So I was like, you guys won.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the makeup, I was like, oh, Elena's going to be
Elena's
all
gonna
over
love
that.
Yes. I'm like, I just want this in my house. Like, just a
And I-
full-sized replica.
And I really liked the girl's makeup a lot with that orb in the middle of her head.
was so
I mean,
cool.
some of the edges were a little rough between the face and the cowl, but the detailing around specifically that glowing jewel that Elena loves so much.
love it.
That was in the middle of her forehead was really nice.
Because it looked like it was growing out of it.
Yeah.
And it
I mean-
didn't look like it was something adhered to it. It seemed like it was part of her anatomy.
Yeah, I mean, she looked like Frieza from Dragon Ball Z.
She did.
But
Straight up.
I'm fine with that. It was good
Nothing
in
wrong
a
with
good
that.
way. I love
Yeah.
it.
No clue what Dragon Ball Z is. No, I'm just kidding. My little brother watched it.
Like,
I
get
know
out.
a little bit about it. But yes, it did look really cool. And if you didn't know, the makeup that I get kicked off for, I had a little glowy thing too.
You did have
I
a little
did.
glowy thing. No, I
Yes.
You guys
know.
don't remember me? I
Yeah.
was on the show too.
It's all about the glow. I'm like Bruce Leroy about the glow.
And that's what V said. That's the only thing
Last
we
Dragon
liked
Ball,
about the
you're right.
makeup was the glowy stick. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we worked very hard on this. So, yeah, I like it too. No,
was
it definitely
cool.
little glowy things, and they made them. Both of them had one, so it sort
Yeah.
of combined them together. It made it one. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
It
I
was
liked
cohesive.
it.
It
It
was
came
neat.
out.
I did think it was funny though that V was like, "Why did they use such garish colors? Exact colors. The next makeup. I love these colors."
Oh my gosh, that's exactly how it is on the show. You're like, oh, they like theirs. They're definitely gonna love.
They're gonna
ours.
love it.
And then
They're
it's like, what is this? And I'm like,
know.
you just said you liked it over there. And
Yeah,
you're
V
like,
is just
"Ugh."
all over the place.
I love that this one glows, and I hate that this one glows. And you're like, "What? I don't."
Breaks my heart.
Ginger Flair in the chat, Elena is concerned that your paper is possessed.
Because it keeps
moving.
moving.
Oh, you know what? It's because it's so close to this Ghostbusters house. That is the only logical explanation.
Right.
No,
not
it's just me in the corner going,
Alexis does that sometimes, and
just a
it's
feeling.
weird. Especially if there's glass separating us and she's still doing it. We're
I can
like,
do it, man. I'm a
why?
mystical being. You don't even know.
We know.
Yeah.
You're my favorite
and,
dirty river mermaid.
And Renji 90998 says, I am the keymaster. And to that I say, actually, Mackenzie is the keymaster.
Yes, exactly.
Mackenzie is the keymaster, and
Always and
I
forever.
have a haunted hat.
But I do want to
We're
say
all
that
doing pretty well.
the one thing I did want to say is that I actually, not to be like, the typical female, but I liked all of the female makeup this time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like everybody kind of did that. They had a gatekeeper, which was mostly female.
Women.
Which I was
I
like,
liked that.
all right. And I just felt like it wasn't like, oh wow, you're hideous. Like every single time, I was like, wow, she's really pretty.
Well, most of them.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
well.
We can get into that later.
Yeah.
But yes, most of the females that did very well, they were like, oh, look how pretty you are. I
Right.
like it. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to put it out there. Girl
Yeah.
power.
I know.
like
that's
it. I'm
true.
all about the girl
Yeah,
power.
totally.
It's weird. I wonder if it's like a subconscious like chastity belt thing.
Ooh.
Maybe it's just me thinking that. There's gatekeepers are always women for the most part, and like all like
That
movie
is true.
things,
Oh, I
women's
didn't
guarding
think
the
about
gate.
that.
I actually brought my favorite gatekeeper with me here today. I got this at Comic-Con.
Oh, yes.
It is Sailor Pluto.
Who's
She
my
is
favorite also.
the gatekeeper of the door to all of space and time.
Aw, too bad she's also not a planet.
Oh,
No,
stop it.
back.
I know,
Pluto is
Pluto
back,
is back.
Elena.
Lord in heaven. Also, I might be dyeing
We've
my
gone
hair
off
her
the
color.
rails.
Get out there.
Welcome, Sydney. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on our Ghostbusters, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z podcast.
All this estrogen.
I know.
With feminist undertones.
Yay.
We like all the girl stuff. I'm one boy in the studio.
My muscles are getting smaller. And
Oh my
smaller.
gosh.
I like them too. No. It was nice. It was really nice.
Ginger Flair says, "Oh, shots fired." Welcome to Face Off. Twist. Sorry.
Just randomly yell twist, you know.
Is that it? All right.
All right.
It's because they always give you guys these weird
And there's
twists.
a twist.
Yeah, every time.
Was
They're
it
like,
M. Night
oh, you've
Shyamalan?
already
Is that what it
started
is?
on.
There's
Yes.
a twist.
Face Off is the M. Night Shyamalan of
I
reality.
never
shows. They
thought
just
of
throw
that
in twists.
before.
I
When
want
Shyamalan
that
was
on a
good.
shirt.
Let me clarify.
Yeah, like we're talking
Wait, isn't
Sixth
he
Sense.
doing another Airbender?
Oh, I heard a rumor about that, and that makes me just.
We're not
wanna-
going to talk about
Yeah,
I
that.
was
That's
super
not
excited
allowed.
about it, guys, because the first one was amazing.
If you didn't know that was sarcasm, guys, just letting you know there.
It was a twist.
I wish we had a sarcasm sound effect.
I wish we don't.
It's just
We
me
should
going.
invent
I
one.
just have. That's all I have.
I like that.
That
That's
works.
better than that.
I'll take it.
It's fine.
Anyway, the makeup. Yeah, that's just what we're actually.
What
What are we
Is that
talking
what
about?
All right.
So,
Were
you
we
know,
talking about something?
Since our whole conversation has gone to hell, let's talk about Kevin and Scott's demon makeup. Bringing it back.
Kevin and Scott's demon makeup, to me, it was very nicely done. It was nice. It was a nice makeup. Like, I saw it and I thought, you know what? This is a nice makeup. They're gonna be safe. Technically, it's really good. There was just not really a wow factor to it.
It was also, they were given, the gate that they were given looked like the entrance to a cheap haunted house.
It really did.
It was.
It didn't look like, it just had skulls stuck to it.
It did seem like it was too much of a given too. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
you did a devil to a gate that looks like the gates to hell.
Yeah, I did like
Perfect.
that they incorporated the skulls and things since
Yeah.
that was on the
But-
actual door.
Right.
They hit it on the nose, but they did it pretty well. So of course they were going to make it through. But
Right.
again, it was a generic makeup that, I mean, I felt like they knew they were just like getting away with something.
I will say that eye patch Lucifer that came out, I was just thinking that is the demon from This Is the End, but
It
tinier.
did look like the
It
demon.
kinda
This is-
did.
Isn't
All
the
right.
legend, or not legend?
Legend,
didn't they
yeah.
have- was that there was a
little-
makeup in there? It
Yeah,
was-
yeah,
I think
they,
so.
They did. They
Yeah.
did. The one that, it was similar to Tim Curry's makeup in Legend when he was the devil, basically. The one thing that I did really like was the shots of Kevin, working on the horns for their two creatures.
Yes,
Warbler
that was
horns.
Yeah,
super cool.
because he made working with Warbler seem really easy.
And it's not.
It is not.
It burns a little bit. And what's really awesome is, again, these people are makeup artists.
Yeah.
And they're fabricating all this stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm
amazing.
I'm sitting there just being so jealous, like, I wish I can do some of that. And it's tough. I mean, you really
Yeah.
have to know your stuff.
Yeah.
It's enough that you know all this makeup, but hey, I'm going to also go into this whole new world that's totally different than doing makeup.
And there was quite a lot of fabrication in this episode, but I liked that we got to see him, dremeling down the styrofoam to shape the horns. And to me, I thought, oh, that's what I've been doing wrong. I've been trying to craft Warbler on other things, but if I just basically adhere it to styrofoam, that's the solution, and it's going to be beautiful.
I felt like I learned something as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
when I was watching that, I was like, yeah, I already knew that.
Well, that kind of ties into Nora and Jasmine. I loved their chemistry and how Nora was watching Jasmine and saying, I'm
Yes.
learning from her.
Yes.
And learning, while Nora we're obviously seeing her firsthand helping out
Yeah.
constantly too. So I think they just perfectly embodied the dynamic of really, I mean, she even says, making sure that you're on the same page with your partner can make or break you. And they were just so like seamlessly on the same page and kept checking in with each other and did two very different characters that were, you know, tonally different. They had very different shading, different colorations. One was covered in the like jelly stuff. And
it was awesome.
It was so cool that it was cohesive but still complete opposite.
Yeah, it's like V kept saying he looked like a slug. That's why she liked him.
And, you know, it's because it's a feminist planet.
Exactly. No, I love this.
So
This
pout some
okay.
more, Sydney. We're talking about lady power some more.
Yeah. So, guys, I've been watching Star Trek Continues, which is a great show that you should all watch.
It's amazing.
And the second episode is about an Orion slave girl and how basically on Orion in the past, the women were in charge. It was a matriarchal society, and so then the men overtook it, and that's why all of the Orion girls are now the green slave girls who are so famous in Star Trek. Also, R.I.P. Von Craig. I'm very sad about that. But anyway, but I like this. To me, sort of reminded me of that, where it was clear that this was kind of the gross dude character who tried to revolt, and she was just like,
Nope.
And Naomi
Just like that.
just like that. I feel like that. And so the model who modeled this makeup, Naomi, is just fantastic.
She's phenomenal.
I just adore her. And she, if you guys remember, last season, one of the most famous makeups that she probably modeled was the broken doll that Darla made, and she just kept hitting herself in the face with the mirror. Like, Naomi does
Going back
not
to what you're talking
give
about,
up.
the model can really sell your makeup and just crush
Most
it.
and with her, I mean, she has the look to really sell any makeup.
She really does,
Even if she's not moving around and going crazy, it's sort of just her eyes sell any sort. But you can also do a makeup that sort of just ruin the whole look of the eyes, right?
Yeah.
And most people with her sort of sell the eyes, and it looks so good.
Yep.
And so every time you see a makeup with her in it, you're like, I know who that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You cannot
You can't
mistake
cover her
Naomi's
up.
eyes.
It's
no.
sort of like
great.
it's just so perfect. So.
So
Yeah,
the makeup was gorgeous. I loved their whole story. I love that they named the characters Jose and Brenda.
But my
Yes.
favorite
Because
thing
of No Way Jose.
Yeah.
Like, that's brilliant.
okay.
my favorite thing about
Yes,
Jose,
I get it now. No,
Yeah.
I just.
but my favorite thing about Jose and Brenda was when Neville, just dead serious, goes, "The thing I really like about Jose."
Yes. The thing that I really enjoyed the most about Jose's makeup was it's like, call him No Way Jose. Like, you can just be like, all right.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
Go for it.
well, the good thing, I mean, about, it was all random teams, right?
Yes,
so you
yeah.
get lucky enough to get a good, partner or whatever.
Right.
The good thing about Nora and Jasmine is they're so easygoing. You can really, anybody can
Yeah.
work well with them. And then they'll make you laugh. You could joke all day. They're in the house, like when I was in the house with them. Those two, it was just like, all right. They always wanted to talk to you and chat you up, and it's like, I like these two.
Yeah,
And it's surprising how talented they are.
Yeah.
Just because, like, when you see Jasmine airbrush paint anything, do beauty especially, she's just so good. And Nora with her sculpting
Yeah.
and forms, you're just like, you just get really jealous. And from day one when I was on the show, I was just like, oh, geez, really? Like, why couldn't I have been on a season where there's just terrible people? I go as far as I
Because
need.
they don't have those. You
don't.
guys are
I
on this
won't-
show
hey,
because
look.
you're phenomenal.
I was hoping that there'd be people, and I was like, maybe I'll make it a little ways. But then from day one, when I was, in the first challenge, which was this super tough challenge,
So
right?
strange.
It was like, when we heard it, we're like, this is not a challenge that's day one challenge. This is a challenge that's last
Yeah.
episode
Yeah, exactly.
challenge.
Like maybe the last 5 episodes.
And it's just seeing, like, I was looking around the room at everybody, and I was like, and then watching Jasmine with the warble over there, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Sure, was awesome.
And then I was like, hey, Evan, you think we're doing enough? And everyone's like, oh, yeah. So, I don't know. They're just super talented, super great people. I love them to death.
Yeah.
Nora's great. She's, oh, God, I can't say enough about him. Blah, blah, blah. Let's do this. What do we got?
No, I wanted to also comment on that because I feel like Nora just being a positive light in just everything,
She
like how
really
she
is.
was about, gosh, I can't remember which contestant it was, where their molds, they weren't drying because all the water and the moisture was coming
Ricky.
out.
Yes.
Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky. And I was like, oh, I know it starts with an R. And he was just so frustrated and upset. And And it sucks. But I love how she was just like, there's something you could do about it. You just got to stay positive and just keep working at it. And
I feel like
I love that.
Nora got real about UltraCal. She's
like straight up.
Yeah,
It
she's
sucks.
like, it's a natural substance, and nature just does what nature's gonna do.
Yeah.
And you just gotta roll with
chill,
it.
and she's so helpful. I feel like Nora is somebody that like the house could be on fire, and she would just be like, "All right, it's cool. I've gathered up all of our necessary." Important documents. I have them. I'm prepared for this. We'll walk outside, and then I'll give them some tips on how to build a new one. It'll be.
I do feel like there's going to be a meme of her though coming up, because when I was listening, she said something about there's no science to nature. And I was like, wait 1 second. But
Nora.
is there a science to nature?
I don't think that's quite
and
right.
I was like, let's see if there's a meme going. I love seeing the memes. I think
they're
that's
the
hilarious.
best.
Wasn't one until just now.
Oh, jeez,
And
I
the
just did
internet
it.
just made it happen.
Internet,
Everybody's doing it
get on
now. Let's try to come up with something else.
Hashtag ABTV face up. But yeah, they did such a great job, and they were top looks. They ended up not being the winning looks. The winning look went to Jordan and Ben,
Yes.
who absolutely crushed it with their cool. They had the big gold doors, which could have gone any direction.
It really
Did anybody
have.
actually like have a not I was meaning the panel, the people in the room right now, you guys. Did you guys ever actually think of like what the heck this thing was? Because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
the
golden
door.
door.
I was just like,
I just thought like Greek mythology, and that's
Yeah.
kind of the direction they went.
they went.
so.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was having a hard time because I was sitting there watching it, going, what are they gonna do with that?
Yeah, I was like, this could go.
Really bad or really
Yeah.
good? And I was
I mean, the good thing about Ben and Jordan is they're super smart.
exactly.
They're
Yeah.
super smart.
I wasn't worried about them.
Witty and oh man, another one that I can't.
And that was
forget about.
that was the hilarious thing to me about this episode was that the top looks, the entire episode, they basically were just showcasing how well everything was going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nora's like, we have 25 pieces made, everything's pre-painted, we're basically crushing it.
Yeah, it's not even an issue.
No,
And then
Ben and Jordan, yeah, with their helmets and stuff, they were showing off. They're like, look at us.
Yeah.
How
And
cool do we look?
Ben's just like, oh yeah, I like the horns in that helmet. I think I'll just
I
build
think I'm just
some
gonna add
horns
some more."
real quick and paint them seamlessly and make it perfect
Yeah.
and just
And
then
I'm
I'll
just-
wear it around and it'll be
And then
fine.
that was it. And he just like, all right, moving on.
Meanwhile, everybody else is like, what?
I do feel like that's another thing. You get lucky paired up because
Yeah.
they've already won like the first episode, which was the hardest challenge ever, right?
Yeah.
And now it's just this one. You're like, oh, you might as well just quit because look who teamed up.
But you
The
know,
Golden Children.
Just saying,
No,
somebody else got top looks on the first challenge. That was also the hardest ever. So
Yeah.
it's Sydney. I'm talking about Sydney.
But I have to agree with Renji in the chat. They thought of, or this person thought of, Asgard with the gate, and I kind of thought about that, but I was kind of like, I mean, we did talk about it in
Yeah.
Mackenzie's long speech about gatekeepers, so I was like, oh, I don't know how they're gonna do that, but sure, work with it.
Yeah.
So.
See, I just saw it and went, I'm not going to think any further of what they do. I'm just going to watch it because I don't have to come up with anything, and that seems really hard.
Yeah. No, smart. I should adapt that into life.
And I'm going to go ahead and agree with Michaela in the chat that I think that Jordan absolutely deserves to win this week.
Yes, Jordan crushed it.
Because
did
he-
an amazing look.
And
Yeah.
did about 3 times the work of
Yeah,
anybody
no, for real.
else.
Fabricated so many things. And it was
Yeah.
just like, how are you even doing? You did the work of 5 people in a week in 3 days by yourself.
Yes.
Yep.
How?
Yep.
Stop being so good and making me feel so inferior.
Just seeing him fabricate is another thing. Because when I first met him, I thought he was like, well, this guy's gonna be gone. Whatever. He's just nice Southern guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna team up, cave in, get kicked off. Maybe that's what happened to me. I don't know. But but I was like, first episode, I was like, watching him do this full fabrication. I was just, my head was down. The guy's too good. He's too good. He teamed up with Ben again, which is way too good. And then it's just, you knew what was going to happen from the beginning. Right when I heard it, I was like, okay, I know he's going to be on top.
That is kind of crazy that in 5 episodes, Ben and Jordan have been paired together twice.
Yeah,
Just
that's
coincidentally.
pretty
And they
unlikely.
won.
Yeah, and they won both
And
Well,
times.
they won.
this was random too. It was random,
I know,
and it
really
showed it on
random.
camera. Random,
Yeah.
they just picked out of a hat, which they were super lucky. And I was thinking maybe whoever was second reached in there and was like, okay, which one did he have?
Yeah.
This
Feeling for
one.
the key.
Yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, he had that pattern.
Up,
on
What do you know?
Oh, look who I got. And then Ben's like, yeah. Oh, how dare.
If we edited Face Off, this would be the secret story that we would
exactly.
be showing. It's we're like, watch them cheat.
Yeah.
We're making all of this up.
This is none of this.
Nope, I heard it. That's what Ben and Jordan told me. They said they cheated
You heard it
and
here
they should have been
Look
disqualified.
up from your memes that you're
long
making
time
about
ago.
Nora. So there were a couple of bottom looks. I mean, this is one of the very few times that we pretty much agreed fully with the judges.
Hands down.
I know.
Which
Hands
never
down.
happens.
Rarely ever happens.
But I think both the bottom looks we knew were going to be bottom.
And this was one of those scenarios where, because we talk a lot on this show about how very frequently on Face Off, they will show you a makeup artist really, really struggling, and then that person is top looks.
Yes.
Yep.
That was not the case.
Yeah,
this week.
that's what I
watch
wanted to
them
talk about
struggle. It is going to keep being as bad as you think it is.
I felt so bad because everything that went wrong happened, and I was just like, oh, I just hope that maybe they'll turn it around and it'll look good, and it didn't. And I
The
just sat there in
twist was
disbelief.
that there was no twist. We were setting up. All the people were like, "We're golden. This looks great." It came out and it was literally
it was
golden and looked
perfect,
great.
yeah.
This was the twist. It actually happened.
Yeah, it's insane. So Ricky and Jason were just having problems from the beginning.
Poor guys.
They both had to scrap their design. They both said they felt like they wasted the whole first day. They had the ultra cal issues where it wasn't, and here was
Yeah,
and
so they ended up having to run their, exactly, in
they would do
polyfoam.
polyfoam, and it was just really hard. They had all these issues. They went into last looks with still seaming the edges.
That was so crazy.
Which
Well,
I was like,
and
no
how?
paint.
nothing
no paint,
painted.
anything.
Which I have to say, yes, they added a 70s disco headdress, which I'm sure if they had even like 10 more minutes would have just said it differently. But the fact that they had a completed piece that was painted, that you knew what they were trying to accomplish.
That is
I give him
impressive.
I give him
To do that in an hour is tough. I mean, his paint job looked fine. It looked fine.
Yeah, actually, the paint job did look fine.
It was a goofy
The paint
sculpt.
job was good. It was this serpentine creature that V ultimately said looked like a
V
teenage
said-
snake girl.
Yeah,
I was like,
she
what?
said specifically it looks like a teenage
Teenage
snake girl
going
going
to a rave. I'm sorry. Am I the only one who was like, no, V, that's
She
not what that looks like?
Reached in the bag and pulled it out.
Yeah,
It
she was
just
like, let me
happened.
find some
Let's
adjectives
see.
and just throw it at you.
I gotta
Random
be honest,
terms.
as soon as she said it, I was like, now I want
You
to see this
applied it.
movie.
Yes.
Like, I want to see the movie where like the older kind of bitchy sister is
Yeah.
a raver snake, and it's just like, you just don't even understand.
Oh my
God.
jeez.
Like,
I do
I'm
have to-
gonna have to unhinge my whole jaw to like gape at you right now.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I want that on a shirt so
I do
bad.
have to agree with Glenn though, who said that the snake looked very Land of the Lost.
It
That,
did.
I think
I
was actually
agreed.
an
It
accurate
was a
description.
I
flea
completely
stack
agree.
all day.
Yeah.
Flea stack all
He
day.
also-
Weird, didn't move. Just
It was weird.
Yeah.
they both looked like masks. It looked
They
like
did.
you could
Well,
flip it
yeah.
off and it could have been done. It
I mean,
really didn't look like
Ricky's
makeup.
creature looked like Majora's
I was gonna
mask,
say, it
but it
looked
just
like-
looked like a
it
really
looks like-
messed up Majora's mask.
I was gonna say it looked like Majora's Mask gone terribly wrong.
It was weird, but I have to say, going back to the doors, that door also looked like it was from
They-
Land of the Lost.
No,
So
like,
I
for
have to
real.
say,
That
you
door
know,
looked straight up Legends of the Hidden Temple.
That's
guys.
what
Yeah,
it was.
no, for
That's
real.
what it
I was
was.
thinking
That's why I was
Road to
like-
El Dorado, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit.
To me, that was the one door that you didn't want.
No,
Nobody
no.
should have
I
gotten
feel
that
like
door.
there
That's
was
a terrible
nothing
door
they
to
could
get.
have done with that. That was like the door that the production department was like,
They were doing this.
We've already made all the other doors, and we don't. This is all we have left. Just stick
They
it
went
on
to
there, it's fine.
Nickelodeon. They picked it up.
That's what I was
It's like,
thinking.
here
That
we
was
go, right
not
here.
Temple Run. Gosh, what is that?
Legends of the Hidden
Yeah,
Temple.
Legend of the Temple. Yeah, so they're just
I
like,
was waiting for them to put a golden monkey together incorrectly.
oh my god, I would have.
Oh,
I would have been
if they
totally
would've
fine with
done
that.
That's silver. That's what
would've
they
been
should have done. They should have
To
made
open
that,
the-
they
to open
should
the
have
gate.
made
3 pieces.
The silver monkey, and they should have just gone
and
straight
put the
up.
head upside down every time.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
would've been
would
great.
watch that show, and I was like, "You've seen a monkey, you
the-
know how their
the
faces
best-
work. What are you doing?"
No, it'd be the best inside joke ever. If you're gonna go out doing something very funny that
Oh,
you're just like,
man.
I didn't care. This is what happened.
V said it was goofy looking, and Glenn
yep.
said it was what panic looks like in a makeup form. So I was
Jeez.
like,
I was
"Jeez,
like,
guys."
whoa, sass.
It's harsh. It's harsh.
So basically, they loved it.
Yep.
You never know though with the judges. Sometimes they're like,
You really
"Oh,
don't.
did you pull this out of an old gutter and sew it on with crap that you found in the
Because
corner?"
I love it.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's the best thing I've ever. And you're like, what?
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh, this looks great, except for right here, and now that's where it just all went to hell, and it's the worst thing we've ever seen. And you're like,
and the thing is when they'll start saying something really bad, and you're like, okay, I agree, and then they'll be like, it's amazing. You're like, okay, I also agree.
Yeah,
and you're like, you're just buying into it. Jeez. Because my makeup on the second episode was awesome. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yay!
I agree.
Oh,
Now,
geez.
unfortunately, there was another bottom look that ultimately yielded our contestant who had to go home. They had the big wooden door Megan and Libby did that looked very medieval, and they both instantly had the medieval mentality, which was good that they went in, on the same page. But then they just had issue after issue where Libby drops the cowl first, and then
oh my gosh,
and that huge dent. You're giggling. And
I was just like, I'm sure it was just edited like she's like, I don't know what to do, and I'm like, well, just fix it, right?
Yeah, you gotta
know
do
what
something.
yeah.
Well, it was just blocked out, so it was okay. It seemed like it was at the beginning stages. Yeah, it's just like, it's being some drama. Whatever.
So much drama.
When you drop what you're working on, though, that's your like, I've literally dropped the ball or the cow.
Well, it does. It hurts your momentum. Like just that little drop can sort of just drop your heart.
Yeah.
Just like, and then you lose it. And then you start losing faith a little bit, and then it's like a downward spiral. Right when you have a little bit of doubt, more doubt seeps in and seeps in, and then it's
just
like
destroys
breaks the
you.
wall, and you're just in a panic.
And it didn't help that Mr. Awesome Michael Westmore with his sass came in and was just
gosh.
like,
you should change this.
this,
And also
and of course
this.
the
and
wrinkles.
this, and you know
this.
you should just.
You know,
I'm gonna take
and
this
the
cowl and
nose
just throw it
and
across the room. You're good. Whole
On
face.
her defense, she's doing anatomy, and first of all, who off the top of their head knows like pig anatomy that's just like so perfect with it?
Oh, no.
Yeah, sure, I can just sculpt a pig. If
Yeah,
you've
I
been
know.
working 30 years at it, maybe you can just knock it out of the park. But I feel for it because I would have done the same thing. I'd have been guessing, you know what? I'll just do this and
I
this.
gotta say, if you've been working on a pig sculpture for
30
30 years, then
years.
I feel for you.
Yeah, like for real.
Well, you want to perfect your art, okay? And if you love pigs, then you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But I thought that was crazy. You're saying because there's no reference
Oh
materials,
my gosh,
which you don't really think
Faisal.
about. There's no reference
And
books. There's no.
I've known everybody from like all these seasons and stuff, and I'm like, before I went on, I was like, how is it? And they've had some pictures of stuff at the house. This season, no pictures in the house, no magazines, no
You were
TV.
just like in a vacuum.
It's just like you're like, okay, so I need to do this jellyfish pattern. Wait, what does a jellyfish look like? And I'm from Florida. I should know this. And I see jellyfish all the time, and I'm just like, when you're like stressed out and you don't know anything. You just lose everything. And if you haven't studied jellyfish for years, you're not gonna know this.
Yeah.
And so we're
Yeah.
over there just like, yeah, that looks fine. Okay, and you're sort of tearing up on the inside. It looks really good. And then when it comes down to it, they're like, it looks like a football helmet. And you're like, oh.
You're like, well, that's what jellyfish look like.
It's
and
like,
I don't
first
have
of
any
all-
source material. So
Yeah.
But outside people don't know that. They don't know, and they're like, well, how come you don't? Why didn't you look at pictures of it?
Yeah.
And you're like,
because there aren't any.
Yeah.
but that's why I was so amazed with like the patterns that Nora did and Jasmine. I was like, off the top of your head, you just pulled that out.
Yeah.
And even the paint job by Jason.
Yeah.
I was like, that was pretty good for just pulling it out of his butt.
So
Yeah.
I have to
for real.
say, still props to Libby for
I know.
Yeah.
going big
And-
and trying something that
And they knew the paint job that they're like, it looks very hyena, and she was going for like a hyena paint job.
hyena
So I was
board.
like,
The only
Cool.
reason the hyena board didn't register is because she had the issue with the tusks.
The tusks,
and wasn't
Yeah, she took them
able-
out.
And, I have to say, I think if they were there, they wouldn't have had as many issues with the anatomy because
Yeah.
it was shaped so that it would support that,
Yes,
and then it wasn't
It
there.
was, and it wasn't there, and exactly. So ultimately, what the tusks would have kind of distracted from what was maybe not exactly correct anatomy, because as you said, she specifically sculpted it to support these tusks that ultimately didn't work out.
but like they said with Meg, she had her horn was just terribly sculpted. And it was like the tusk too. The tusk
Yeah,
could have
it
taken
was-
away from it because it'd been like hers. The tusks looked really bad, and that's what she was having a problem with. They look bad, and they're not staying. Just get rid of them. It could have gone either way. It could have just really destroyed it.
Yeah.
But we don't know. So
I did think it was kind of painful though when they said, "Okay, you guys are safe. Meg, you also have immunity. You're safe."
This is where I get angry, and I'm going to start venting right now
let's hear it.
because I'm a little irritated because Meg got immunity, and she totally deserved it, but she couldn't take a second to help her partner out.
Which V commented on also.
Like,
oh yeah, because she no matter what, she'd have been safe.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
like, I have too much work to do.
yeah.
You're
And that's what
safe.
pissed me off. I was like, girl.
You have immunity.
Like, help her out.
You could have glued anything on the face. I mean, then the judges would have been like, "Oh, she's not serious about this competition," but you still trying to save
cares?
your
It
partner.
doesn't matter.
And she could have said it on the stage. Look, I was trying to keep Libby here. She's my partner. We're a team.
Yeah.
I'm safe.
And they would have been on board with
and
that.
yeah, and the judges would be like, okay, I can respect
That's
that.
legit.
But she didn't do that. And I was just like, come on, girl.
No.
But
Bye,
to, say,
Felicia.
to say that, Meg is still a sweetheart.
Yes.
Yes.
I know.
Yes, I knew she was in her
is
own
Libby,
head.
But it is strategy.
And I have to say, anybody
Stop.
wearing pizza earrings, do whatever you want. They're
Saw that.
amazing.
I just, I think that she's still an awesome person. It hit
Yeah,
me in a really
yeah.
weird spot of like, come
I
on.
feel
But
bad
and
for
the whole
Libby.
time, the whole time you're on the show, it's hard for you to think about anything.
Yeah.
You're panicking full time. You're not really thinking about, oh, I got to help this person out. You're more of thinking about, what do I need to do? I got to get rid of. I got to do this. Got to do that. They should have talked like the night before and came up. I mean, Libby should have said something like,
Yeah.
look, you're safe.
Yeah.
Help me as much as possible.
Well, we saw a little bit in last looks that happening where she was like, I need help. And she's saying, well, I'm not done with my character.
Yes.
But that's when Libby should have said, you're safe. And
Yeah.
then Meg would have gone, oh, you're right. I don't think that she was even
Yeah.
thinking
No,
that.
I
wouldn't
you're
think they
in
were thinking
panic
that either.
mode.
I agree with
And
you.
you're not thinking, oh, yeah, I have immunity. You're
I
thinking,
can't go home.
we have 10 minutes. We got to get this done
Yeah.
and out.
Yeah.
Or we're going to be sending a model with half a face, and that's not going to work. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a disco
Or a disco.
feather
Sure.
headdress.
Or,
It works out.
or a teenage lizard girl going to a rave.
Yeah.
So weird.
But, you know, I gotta say, props to Libby
Yeah.
for going out on something big.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So if it's gonna be go big and go home, that's better than go home on something that you go, well, I just didn't really try.
Yeah. That is true because she definitely tried.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yay, props
Yay.
to you. Now,
Oh,
Sorry.
thank you, live studio audience. So you've been working a whole lot since Face Off, doing amazing things. You talked a little bit about how you've modeled makeup before, but I also hear that you got to be Deadpool before, right?
yeah, let me tell you about that. So this happened actually right before Face Off. I got a call from Bill Corso, and Bill Corso was like, I'm doing test makeup. Come on in. It's just nothing. I'm like, yeah, cool. They're doing some gore on me or something. I go in, and then he has all this like Deadpool stuff everywhere, and he's like, guess what? You're going to be Deadpool before Ryan Reynolds. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, we're going to do all the test makeup on you, so we're going to transform you into Deadpool. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. And then on top of that, we're going to pay you. And it's like,
That's
and,
amazing.
And so I was like, okay, that's cool. I did it, and then I was on a high, and then I was like, going to Face Off. So then I went to Face Off, got kicked off way earlier than I should have. But guess what? They called me again. It's like, hey, we need you back in the studio to model some more for Deadpool. And I was like, again? And so it was like 4 days of nonstop makeup.
That's
It was
awesome.
amazing. And then when
Pretty amazing consolation.
I
I know,
gotta
seriously.
say.
What-
It's like, oh, you got kicked
and-
off Face Off, but now you're Deadpool.
I had to like clutch my purse. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
and the thing is, I couldn't tell anybody until Bill Corso was like, hey, guess what? We're working on this.
Yeah.
Deadpool. And then they released some photos and stuff. And then I was like, well, guess what, guys? I was Deadpool. I was him. And then I saw the trailer.
Amazing.
And then I was like, oh, so that's makeup they went with. Oh, very interesting.
That's so cool.
And they had full mock-up images of me, like in the suit.
Oh,
and
that's
everything
awesome.
like this, raised eyebrow. And I might make the effects book. So you might see me in the official
Nice.
effects book. Fingers crossed.
Live
Ryan
studio
Reynolds
audience?
make this
Yeah,
happen.
for sure.
Basically, Ryan Reynolds would be nothing without you.
Yep, pretty
Look,
much.
That's
Look.
what we've learned here today.
I was his, stand-in
How many
basically.
contestants
So
can
cool.
say that?
Because I look just like him, apparently. No, the only reason they use me is because I model makeup a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was bald, and they're like, it'd be way easier on you, and you've been in makeup, you're not allergic to anything.
Yeah.
And so, and they're
That's
like,
phenomenal.
and you can do that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yes, I can. So it was super surprising that Bill knew my name, which was amazing because he walked up to me at IMATS before then.
Right,
It's like,
right.
Sydney, need to talk to you. Can I get your number? And I was like,
You know who I am.
and so I was like, here you go, sir. And then I handed it to him. And then, look, he has an Oscar. He's really good. He did Foxcatcher. He's working with Jim Carrey, Steve Carell, all these cool people. And then I was just like, you know my name. And then I was like, he's not going to call me. I think that it's just in case he needs a model. And then he calls me, and then I'm like, sweet. And then once they told me what it was, and then I was like, oh.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tear. What Indian tear?
And then I told my little brother, maybe like a week ago, and he's like, what? That's so cool. And I was like, yeah, I could finally tell you.
All right,
So
we're clapping.
basically, we have Ryan Reynolds with us right now.
In the studio, here today.
Guys, happening.
Mackenzie is the Sigourney Weaver Face Off, and you're
I'm
the
the
Ryan Reynolds of
Face
Face
Off.
Off.
I love it.
Oh,
Impressive.
I love
That's
it.
impressive.
I know.
Kind of wish I hadn't have accidentally said Sigourney Weaver and made her a villain in Firefly, but
It's okay.
Thank you so much for being here
It was
tonight
very
and hanging out
awesome.
with
Yeah.
us. You're phenomenal. Where can we find some more of your work and see what you?
I'm a huge Instagrammer of myself because you see photos and everything. So it's I Shoot the Dead because I do a lot of zombies.
Oh,
so
nice.
I Shoot the Dead. It's just like it sounds. My website's ishootthedead.com as well because I do way too many zombies. I shouldn't do too many, but whatever. I love zombies. And if you want to go to Twitter, I do a little bit on Twitter, not much. It's just at Sidney Cumbie. That's my name. But that's pretty much it. Instagram is where it's at. You'll see a lot of weird videos. I do a lot of bath videos with a Batman cowl on. It's
Nice.
called Bathman. You guys
Bathman, I like
should
it.
look it up.
excited about
It's,
All right.
I don't know if you're excited about it. You'll be frightened a little bit. And then it'll get funny. I don't know how I
We'll be
explain
moved.
it. Moved.
We will feel something.
Yes. Disgust.
So check it out. Let us know what
shame.
you think. Tweet at all of us using that hashtag ABTVFaceoff. Again, you can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan and on Instagram at that Alana Jordan girl.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and all the things at Emma Fyffe.
And you can find Alexis.
At atorres890 all over social media.
And then you can find all of us back here next week when we'll be talking about extraterrestrials.
Woo! Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
I'm Deadpool.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.